Hello.
Yeah.
I'm here to give you a makeover.
Huh?
Your boyfriend told me to. He said, don't take no for an answer.
The real catalyst for my stopping what I was doing and writing the book in the first place, I walked into a Manhattan video store one day, and up on the monitor was a past episode of Oz playing. And Oz is a prison drama on HBO. And there was a man who had been raped and had been the victim of forced feminization. And, some men inside, the rapes that go on in prison are perpetrated by men who identify as heterosexual, both before and after prison. And some men will force feminize their victims so that they create this psychological distance between the notion of having gay sex. So this scene was going on the television monitor, and the young men behind the counter in that store were laughing. And I looked up at this screen and I looked at these guys, and it was a real defining moment for me. And as I known that I needed to write this book, in that moment, what I knew I needed to do and what my goal was to put a human face on the issue, because the characters in this program, and so often in television, they are just one-dimensional characters.
Oh my God. You're even prettier than I thought you'd be.
The inmates literally flipped a coin in the air to decide which one of them would own me. And so for the balance of my time at Riverside Correctional Facility, I ended up becoming the property of an inmate named Slidestep. And my fate was now tied to this man. And what happened to me is a very common occurrence for young, nonviolent, first-time offenders, kids like me that did something really stupid and find themselves very quickly in way over their heads. And I was in way over my head. This inmate that I was assigned to or owned by was responsible for my protection. He made sure that I didn't experience any more of these violent gang rapes, but in exchange for that protection, I had to provide sexual favors. A lot of what I talk about in Fish occurs within that first year of my incarceration, from 17 to 18. And yeah, my sexuality was certainly a part of it. And I start to address that in the beginning of the book, because on my last night before I go to prison, my older brother takes me downtown Detroit to buy me a hooker as a going-away present. And I couldn't perform. And it's sort of the first, hint that I give the reader in terms of the questioning that's going on. And, I could tell you that there's a point in the book where in the story, where I was still questioning how much of what was going on with me was just my emerging sexuality, or how much of it was normal adolescent questioning. It wouldn't have mattered whether I was gay or straight. I was a skinny, vulnerable kid, and the guys did what they were going to do to me. I had no gang affiliations. I had no. There was nowhere to run. But what's common for a lot of gay men who go into prison and experience what I did, there's a tremendous amount of guilt and self-blame, and I address that in the book, because I wondered how much of it was my fault. How much did I create? And, and in some ways I put myself there. The choices that I made landed me in prison. And there were elements of the sex that were enjoyable, which created further confusion. And I don't think that's unique to gay men or unique to sexual violence in prison. I've read a lot about victims of rape where there may have been an element that was perhaps enjoyable, even if it was for just a second, but it was enough to create that doubt and that blame, and it fueled my shame for many years.